The following story was reported to the UFO Reporting Center in 2004 by an individual who was 7 at the time. On October 7th, 1979, around 10 p.m. in Wabasca, Canada, 4 young Canadians would witness a massive UFO, as well as missing time. That night, this young boy was home with his younger brother, age 6, and his youngest brother, an infant. The 3 were being babysat by their 14-year-old cousin. That night, the series of events would begin with a series of colorful lights coming through the trailer's window. The boy recalls they lived in a very rural area with no other lights around, like streetlights. The witness recalls walking over to the window and hearing an alternating low, high noise that kept getting louder. As he looked outside, he couldn't see any stars, but a second later he noticed a massive craft, black underneath and shining, hovering above their house. The size of the craft was massive and covered his grandmother's house and his trailer, as well as most of his grandmother's land. The 2 boys and the teenager began to panic. The noise escalated and was now deafening to the point that the boys attempted to cover their ears with pillows. The trailer would begin shaking violently, and things started to fall off the shelves in the kitchen. The infant was crying hysterically, and then, to make matters worse, the witness's brother went outside for a closer look. He was frozen, and the primary witness went outside and was screaming his name, although his brother was in some sort of trance, staring at the object. The primary witness would then wake up on his couch and see the craft moving away. He had a much better vantage point from here and could see white beams coming down from underneath the UFO. Seconds later, the witness's mom came home from work and would see the boys all hysterical and the infant crying. There appeared to be about 30 minutes of missing time. The mother seemed oblivious to the craft, or perhaps she had seen it but was more preoccupied with what was going on with the hysterical baby. The baby was crying non-stop, and after attempting to soothe it, the baby's breathing began to slow. The family would rush the baby to the witness's grandmother's house on the property. There, his aunt, a registered nurse, would perform CPR to save the baby's life. Before saving him, the nurse noted that she had to remove some sort of white jelly-like substance from the infant's mouth. She was confused, as this wasn't usual or typical foam that people have when they have seizures. Years later, the witness would discuss the events with his brother and sibling. His then 7-year-old brother seems to remember pieces of the event, while his cousin doesn't remember anything. Years later, the witness would discuss the events with his brother and cousin. His brother seems to remember pieces of the event, while his cousin doesn't remember anything about it, but does recall his younger brother almost dying. So did this event occur, and how likely is it that it happened? The witness noted that he spoke with people around the area, and around 50 saw some type of craft that night. However, in his report, important details, such as when he spoke with them, are absent. Again, the report was filed with Newfork in 2004, around 35 years after the event. One other question concerns the mother, aunt, and grandmother. Did any of them see the craft? It's understandable that that night the baby was the priority, but at a later time, wouldn't one of the adults have mentioned the incident? The witness does not say anything about this. He does mention that that night, the RCMP, the police, came out to his grandmother's house, but again, no word on whether they saw it. We have seen in other cases abductees' memories wiped, and their memories come back with hypnotic regression. It could be the case the memories were wiped in some way. However, other than the lost time, there's nothing really to indicate an alien abduction took place. The witness waking up on the couch could have been due to something physical that was happening. With the little details on the event, including no names, it's tough to confirm or deny that this event did occur.